Your body is lying still under the blanket, and your mind is still standing at attention. No racing thought you can name, just the hum of a body that hasn't been told the day's over. On the nightstand, a phone glows blue, face up, untouched for the last few minutes. Next to it, a mug of tea has gone cold, and the notebook sits closed, pen resting on top. This isn't a flaw in you. Somewhere after 40, a lot of bodies start keeping these same late hours. It's common. It isn't permanent. 2 floors down, in another house, an older man is still awake in his garden shed, hands busy with nothing urgent. His hands are tired. His mind, somehow, is still running the day's errands. 2 different rooms, one shared pattern. The evening switch that's supposed to click off is arriving late. Not a switch you flip with willpower, one the body flips on its own when it's ready. Tonight, you'll find out exactly what that switch is waiting for and where it lives in the body. You'll see the cup finally get used, the phone finally get turned over, the notebook finally get opened. None of it happens by accident. It happens by one small evening move. So tonight, before anything else, there's one simple thing worth trying while the rest of the house sleeps. Your body is waiting on one exact evening switch, and tonight you'll find out what it's still waiting for. That one simple thing tonight has a name. It starts with a hormone that's supposed to fall, and lately forgets to. Cortisol is your daytime hormone. It wakes you up sharp in the morning and is supposed to ease off as the sky dims. In your 20s, that fall is clean. Steady in the morning, steadily gone by the time the dishes are done. After 40, that same curve often stalls. It drops late, or worse, it climbs again right at bedtime. A second peak, uninvited, right when the house goes quiet. This is not a mysterious modern failing. It's a hormone system that runs a little later with every passing year. Nothing broken here, just a hormone running behind schedule. You can watch it happen at your own table. The phone stays lit long after the food is gone. Across the table, his jaw stays tight over the dishes, long after the meal itself gave him any reason to. That tightness isn't temper, it's the same late cortisol still telling the body to stay alert. On the counter behind him, the tea she poured an hour ago is already going cold, untouched. The stress of a deadline or a loud house can nudge that second peak higher, but it isn't the root cause. The clock itself has simply moved. Your body's evening off switch just fires later than it used to. And a late switch is still a switch. It can be reached. What actually reaches it isn't willpower. It's a handful of ordinary evening cues your body already understands. The curve still glows up there, waiting for its drop. What finally convinces it to fall on time? So the alarm inside you finally quiets down. That's only half the switch. There's a second hormone still waiting in the wings. It won't rise for just anyone. Its name is melatonin, and it has exactly one condition: real darkness. Not dim, not almost dark. The body is reading for the real thing. There's a second condition too, quieter than the first. A slight drop in body temperature. Cooling down isn't a side effect of sleep. It's an invitation for it. So what happens when the room refuses to give either one? That blue glow reads to the body like a small, stubborn patch of daytime. The lamp goes off, the glow in the hand stays on. The second thing working against the dark is easy to miss: warmth held in by the walls themselves. A room set for daytime comfort can quietly hold that temperature drop-off for hours. And the window hasn't helped either. The blinds are still open to the street. Even a street lamp 2 houses down can be enough to hold that dial from tipping over. None of this is a discipline problem. It's a signal problem. The cup by the bed has gone cold too, waiting the same way the room is. Once the body reads true dark and a little cool, this hormone doesn't need convincing. One switch waits for a hormone to fall. The other waits for the dark. So which one gives first tonight? One switch waits for a hormone to fall. The other waits for the dark. Here's the part no one mentions. They're not 2 switches. They're one, wired to every room you walk into that day. Meet the other end of that wire. An ordinary Tuesday, 3 floors up from where you'd expect it. By 2, her knee won't stop bouncing under the desk, and the email she just reread still hasn't landed. That wired, snappish feeling isn't a bad day at the office. It's last night's switch, still stuck open. Cortisol that never fell at midnight is still circling at noon. It isn't personality. It's a hormone that overstayed its shift. Follow that same wire home. Hours later, a woman across town is doing the exact opposite of tired. Lying still, wide awake, ceiling memorized. The phone is still face up on the nightstand, screen lit, casting its small blue argument against the dark. Same stalled cortisol, holding the mind alert past midnight, while low light keeps melatonin from ever climbing. That's why treating the afternoon jitters alone rarely holds, and neither does chasing sleep by itself. Both problems are drawing power from the same unlit switch, hours before either one shows itself. One switch, every wire. Anxious noon, restless night, exhausted the day after. If one switch runs all 3, tonight asks for only 2 small moves. But which 2? So one switch runs the racing mind and the tired afternoon. Tonight, you only need 2 moves at it. The first move starts with water, not willpower. A warm bath or shower, timed on purpose. Run it about an hour to 90 minutes before you plan to sleep, not right at the edge of bedtime. Here's the trick. Warming the body up first is what makes the cool down afterward count. Stepping out into cooler air, your core temperature drops, and that drop is one of the signals cortisol reads as evening. Not a ritual for its own sake. A thermostat cue aimed straight at the alarm hormone. Simple as that. A bath with a schedule. Second move happens down the hall, in the kitchen, with the same cup that's been sitting untouched since morning. The last coffee of the day gets swapped for a warm herbal tea, poured about 2 hours before the lamp goes out. Caffeine can sit in the body for hours, quietly propping the alarm hormone back up long after the mug is empty. Herbal tea carries no such trail, just warmth in your hands and a quiet signal that the day is closing. Across the table, an older woman does the same trade most evenings. Tea instead of the last coffee, out of habit now, not effort. No dosage, no supplement aisle, just a warmer, later cup. Picture that curve again, the stubborn second peak at bedtime. Warm water and a swapped cup, and it starts to soften. 2 small moves, 1 warm hour, and the alarm side of the switch finally starts easing toward off. The cortisol side is quieting. But the room down the hall is still fighting the dark. and that switch is next. The bath, the tea, the heat is quieting. What's left is the dark itself. Melatonin doesn't rise because the clock says so. It rises when the eyes report actual dark. An overhead bulb at full brightness reads as noon to that system, even at 10 at night. So the third move is small. An hour before bed, switch the overhead off. Let one lamp do the work. Lamplight sits low and warm, closer to firelight than daylight. The body reads that difference instantly. The room finally looks like evening, so the body finally believes it. The fourth move sits right beside it, on the nightstand, still glowing blue. That blue glow is the same daylight signal as the overhead bulb. It tells the same lie. So the phone gets turned face down, not shut off, not surrendered, just turned over. Beside it, a notebook that has sat closed for months finally opens to a blank page. Not a journal entry. 3 lines. Whatever is loudest gets written down instead of scrolled through. The mind doesn't need silence to rest. It needs somewhere else to put the noise. Room dim, phone turned over. The melatonin line finally climbs clean, in the dark it was always waiting for. The bath, the tea, the lamp, the notebook. 4 small moves, each one undoing a piece of being switched on. Every piece of the switch has a name now. What's left is putting them in one order, tonight. The pieces have been sitting on the table all evening. Tonight, they finally go in order. Step 1 happens before the sweater comes off. A warm bath, timed for about an hour before the lamp goes out. As the body cools afterward, that's the cue their alarm hormone has been waiting for. Step 2 sits right there on the counter. The kettle, not the coffee grinder, 2 hours before bed. That's the same cup from the start of tonight. It finally gets used. Small moves, done the same way every night. That's the whole idea. Step 3 is the hand on the dimmer switch, turning the room down to just the lamp. And the phone that used to glow face up on the pillow, tonight it goes face down, screen dark. In its place, the notebook finally opens. 3 lines, nothing more, whatever the day left behind. Bath, tea, dim light, 3 lines. One small order, and the switch is allowed to fall now. Watch the curve now. The second bump that used to hold on past midnight, it settles right on schedule. Nothing dramatic happened. The room just finally agreed with the body. The mug is empty, the notebook is closed, the lamp is out. That's the body healing. So tell me, the light, the last coffee, or the phone, which one is keeping your switch from flipping on time?